All right, listener. You guys have sent us a 10-ON on fasting.
Yeah,
Clearly, you're interested in more than just skipping breakfast.
right.
So
Yeah.
we're going to do a deep dive into what really happens when you fast.
Okay.
Unpack the science, bust some myths, and by the end, you'll have a solid grasp on whether it's something you should explore.
What's really fascinating is that fasting has been practiced for centuries, often for religious or spiritual reasons.
Right.
But now science is starting to understand the biological processes.
Yeah, it's like this ancient practice suddenly has this cutting-edge science backing it up.
Right.
So let's get into like the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What's actually happening in our bodies when we fast.
Well, instead of constantly digesting food, your body kind of shifts gears. It starts tapping into stored fat for energy,
Okay.
a process called ketosis.
Okay, see, this is where I get a little confused.
Okay.
You've got ketosis, autophagy, BDNF.
Yeah.
It's a lot to keep straight.
Right.
Can we just break down like each one of those one by one?
Ketosis is what happens when your body runs out of its primary fuel, glucose,
Okay.
and it switches to burning fat.
Hmm.
So this metabolic shift is really fascinating and has implications for like weight management and things like that.
So it's like my body's finally using all those extra calories I've been storing up.
Exactly.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what about this autophagy thing?
Autophagy, it
Fascinating.
sounds intense.
It is. It's like your body's built-in recycling system.
Hmm.
When you fast, cells start breaking down damaged components and waste products.
Okay.
Essentially cleaning house.
So like detox.
Kind of like detox, yeah.
Wow.
And this process has been linked to everything from reducing inflammation to potentially protecting against certain diseases.
So it's not just about weight loss.
Yep.
It's like hitting the reset button on like a cellular level.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But hold on, you mentioned BDNF too.
Yes.
What's that all about?
BDNF is a protein
Okay.
that plays a really crucial role in brain health.
Okay.
It supports the growth and survival of neurons.
Uh-huh.
And studies have shown that fasting can actually increase BDNF levels.
So fasting could make me smarter.
Potentially.
Sign me up.
Right.
But seriously, are we talking about like noticeable cognitive improvements?
While more research is needed,
Okay.
studies have linked increased BDNF to improvements in learning, memory, and overall cognitive function.
Okay.
And it also seems to offer some protection against neurodegenerative diseases.
Okay, now it's feeling like there's all these like cascading effects.
Yeah.
You fast, your body goes into ketosis, starts cleaning house with autophagy,
Mm-hmm.
and your brain gets a boost from BDNF.
Right.
This is way more than just skipping a meal.
You're getting it.
Yeah.
Fasting isn't just about what you're not doing. It's about triggering these powerful internal processes.
All right, let's pause here for a sec.
Okay?
We've covered a lot of science,
We have.
ketosis, autophagy, BDNF.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I just want to make sure our listeners are on the same page.
Does any of this resonate with you?
Right.
What stands out to you so far?
That's a great question.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
You've been researching fasting.
Right.
You probably know there are a bunch of different approaches.
Yes.
We'll break those down next and see which ones might be a good fit for your lifestyle.
Sounds good. So let's talk about like the different ways people practice fasting.
Okay.
Intermittent fasting, or IF, is really popular these days.
Yeah, I've heard of the 168 method. You basically fast for 16 hours and then
Right.
eat within an 8-hour window.
Exactly.
Seems manageable.
Yeah.
But are there other types of intermittent fasting?
There are.
Okay.
Another common one is alternate day fasting,
Okay.
where you eat normally one day and then you significantly restrict calories or fast completely the next day.
Hmm.
And then there are even longer fasts, like the Eat Stop Eat method, which involves a full 24-hour fast once or twice a week.
Okay, that one sounds a little intense for me. But, you know, in some of the stuff you sent us, there was this emphasis on how fasting isn't just like a modern trend.
Yeah.
It's got this long history in like various cultures and religions, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fasting has been practiced for centuries, often for spiritual or religious reasons.
Mhm.
Think about Ramadan in Islam, Lent in Christianity,
Yeah.
Yom Kippur in Judaism.
Yeah, it seems like there's something almost primal about it, like it taps into something deep within us.
There's definitely a historical and cultural significance to fasting that goes beyond just the physical benefits.
Yeah.
It's often seen as a way to cultivate self-discipline, connect with a higher power, or purify the body and mind.
It's interesting to think about how those traditional practices are now being validated by modern science.
Right.
Speaking of which, one of the podcasts you sent us talked about the potential downsides of fasting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should address that, right?
You're absolutely right. While fasting can be beneficial for many, it's not for everyone.
Okay.
And it's important to be aware of potential downsides. Some people experience side effects like headaches, fatigue, or irritability, especially when they're first starting out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
In that podcast, they also talked about how fasting can sometimes make social situations tricky.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're out with friends who are eating and you're not.
That's definitely a valid concern. It's important to be mindful of those social dynamics and find ways to navigate them gracefully.
Yeah,
Communication is key.
right.
Being open with friends and family about your fasting routine can make things a lot easier.
It seems like finding the right type of fasting for your individual needs and lifestyle is crucial too, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're someone who loves social gatherings that revolve around food,
Right.
maybe a 24-hour fast isn't the best fit.
You're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's all about finding what works for you,
Okay.
experimenting with different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to your body and adjusting your fasting schedule as needed is key to making it a sustainable part of your life.
Okay, I'm starting to get the picture, but with all this talk about potential downsides, I'm wondering, is there anyone who should absolutely avoid fasting?
Definitely, if you have any underlying health conditions, it's crucial to talk to your doctor before trying any type of fasting.
Okay.
It's especially important for people with diabetes, eating disorders, or pregnant women to be cautious.
Okay, so safety first.
Safety first.
And even if you're generally healthy, it sounds like starting slowly and gradually increasing your fasting window is the best approach.
Exactly. Listen to your body, pay attention to how you're feeling, and adjust accordingly.
So let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What about the argument that fasting is just another fad diet that people will eventually give up on?
Right.
How do we make this a sustainable lifestyle change, not just a temporary thing?
That's a great question. I think one key to sustainability is viewing fasting not as a strict set of rules, but as a flexible framework.
Okay.
It's about finding what works for your body and your lifestyle.
So it's more about a mindset shift than like a rigid set of rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about tuning into your body's natural rhythms, being mindful of your eating habits, and making conscious choices about when and what you eat.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's less about deprivation and more about making informed choices that support your overall health and well-being.
Precisely. And it's important to remember that fasting is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Combining it with other healthy habits like regular exercise, stress management, and quality sleep is key to creating lasting change.
You know, one thing that really stood out to me in the materials you sent was this idea that fasting isn't just about physical health. It seems to have a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being, too.
I completely agree. Fasting can be incredibly empowering.
Okay.
It challenges us mentally, helps us develop greater self-discipline, and can even lead to a sense of clarity and focus.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about feeling more in tune with their bodies and emotions when they fast.
Absolutely. It can be a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal growth.
Hmm.
By stripping away external distractions, fasting allows us to connect with our inner selves on a deeper level.
It's like hitting the reset button, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well.
Exactly, and that can be incredibly liberating.
All right, before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, I want to pause and ask our listener a question.
Okay.
Think about your life, your goals. Where do you think fasting might fit in? What aspects of your well-being, physical, mental, or emotional, do you think it could potentially impact?
That's a great question to reflect on.
Now let's dive into some real-life examples of how fasting has transformed people's lives. We've got some amazing stories lined up that'll really bring this whole conversation to life.
All right, are you ready for some inspiring stories?
I am. I love hearing how real people have incorporated fasting into their lives. And like experience the benefits firsthand.
Yeah.
It makes it all feel so much more tangible, you know?
Absolutely. Stories have a way of bringing concepts to life and showing us what's possible.
So who's our first fasting superstar?
Our first story comes from a woman named Sarah.
Okay.
She's a 45-year-old mom of two
Okay.
who struggled with weight management and fatigue for years. She tried all sorts of diets and exercise programs, but nothing seemed to stick.
I can relate to that feeling of being stuck in a rut. You know, it's like you're trying so hard, but not seeing the results you want.
Right.
So what changed for Sarah?
She stumbled upon an article about intermittent fasting and decided to give the 168 method a try.
Okay.
And she was amazed by how quickly she started to see results.
Wow.
Not only did she lose weight, but her energy level soared and she felt mentally sharper than she had in years.
It's like fasting unlocked a whole new level of vitality for her.
Right.
It's amazing how something as simple as changing your eating patterns can have such a profound impact.
It really is. And Sarah's story is not unique.
Okay.
We also heard from John, a 55-year-old entrepreneur
Okay.
who was diagnosed with prediabetes a few years ago.
Prediabetes is a serious condition.
Yeah.
I imagine that diagnosis must have been a wake-up call for him.
John knew he needed to make some changes.
Okay.
So he started researching lifestyle interventions and came across fasting. He was initially hesitant,
Sure.
but decided to give it a try, starting with a 12-hour overnight fast.
Okay.
Gradually, he increased his fasting window and was blown away by the results.
What kind of results did he see?
His blood sugar levels stabilized, he lost weight, and he felt more energized than he had in years.
Wow.
John shared that fasting not only helped him manage his prediabetes, but also improved his overall health and well-being.
That's so inspiring. It shows that fasting can be a powerful tool for preventing and managing chronic diseases.
Absolutely.
Well.
And finally, we heard from Mary, a 60-year-old retiree who was looking for a way to boost her energy levels and improve her cognitive function.
Okay.
She had noticed that after retiring, her energy was declining.
Right.
And she was worried about age-related cognitive decline.
I think a lot of people can relate to those concerns as they get older.
Right.
So what did Mary do?
Mary decided to try intermittent fasting. And she's been amazed by the results. Her energy levels have skyrocketed. She feels more mentally alert, and her memory has improved significantly.
It's like fasting gave her a new lease on life.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think that something as simple as changing when you eat can have such a positive impact on cognitive function.
It really is. And these are just a few examples of the many people who have experienced the transformative power of fasting.
These stories are so inspiring. They highlight the fact that fasting is not just a theoretical concept, but a practical and accessible tool for improving health and well-being at any age.
I agree.
You know, it's interesting how all of these stories touch on the theme of empowerment.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, it seems like fasting gives people a sense of control over their health. It's not about following some restrictive diet plan,
Right.
but about tuning into their bodies and making conscious choices about when and what they eat.
I see what you mean. It's like fasting empowers people to take ownership of their health in a way that feels both ancient and cutting edge.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our health, boosting our energy levels, improving our cognitive function, and living our lives to the fullest.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of fasting, what are your final thoughts for our listener?
I think it's important to remember that fasting is a personal journey. What works for one person may not work for another.
Right.
It's about finding what feels right for your body, your lifestyle, and your goals. Experiment with different approaches. Listen to your body. And don't be afraid to adjust your fasting schedule as needed.
That's great advice. It's about finding a sustainable approach that you can incorporate into your life for the long haul.
Exactly. And remember, fasting is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Combining it with other healthy habits like regular exercise, stress management, and quality sleep is key to creating lasting change.
This has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from the science behind fasting to the different types of fasting, the potential benefits and risks and practical tips for incorporating it into your life. We've even heard inspiring stories from real people who have experienced the transformative power of fasting firsthand.
It's been quite a journey.
So, listener, we encourage you to continue exploring the world of fasting. Do your research. Talk to your doctor. See if it's right for you. You might just be surprised by what you discover.
And who knows, maybe you'll be sharing your own fasting success story with us someday.
Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep diving deep